declaring that I equals 1, while I is less than 10, 1 is less than 10, we're going to print I put print 1. Yeah, thank you. Noticed. Print I, and then we're going to do I plus 1. So what's going to happen is I is then going to become 2 all the way till we get to 10. So all we're saying here is while true, we're going to do something. Okay, so that's it for these. We're going to cover now. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it's less than, it won't print 10, you're right. It'll print 9. Yeah, I didn't put the equal sign. Keeping me on my toes, guys. You're like lawyers, you're holding me to every word I say, and I like it. You're not my mentees, you're my lawyers, my lawyers. All right, let's take a look at some code. Some other code. Let's save this. So, my goal for you is that I want you to be able to read what we're about to see. You don't have to understand fully what's going on. You just need to be able to read what you're seeing in a sense and get an idea for what the application is doing. There's going to be a lot of things in here that we didn't cover, and that's fine. The goal is to be able to understand exactly what you're seeing. So I've got 2 things in here for us. Okay, let's look at the buffer overflow before. So if you've sat through a buffer overflow lesson of mine, this script might look familiar. This is a basic fuzzing script. This is written in Python too. That's okay. The concepts are still the same. So if we look at this, we're declaring that we're calling out Python here. We're importing some stuff. Now we didn't cover importing, but these are just modules, right? These are modules that we want to import that we're going to use that aren't by default sitting in Python itself, but we can import these modules and they'll do things for us. So we've got socket, like the socket module here, that's going to allow us to connect over this socket and this socket here, which is just IPv4 and a port. Well, I'm declaring it at the top that it's Python 2. Yeah. So outside of these imports, let's look at the first line. We've got something that says buffer. It's just a variable, right? So buffer is equal to 100 A's. A times 100. So this is just a string of 100 A's. Okay, now we've got a while loop sitting in here. We said while true. So as long as this is true, this loop is going to run. We've got something here called try and except. We didn't cover those, but you might be able to imagine what they are. So we're trying to do something, and if something else happens, then we're going to close out of the program, right? So you can kind of understand already what's going on. So we're actually sending a connection to this IP and this port. We're sending over a message plus that buffer variable here. So we're sending this message plus 100 A's. We're going to close out of that connection. We're going to sleep for a second. And then we're going to append buffer with another 100 A's. So it's going to become 200 A's. And it's going to try this again. As long as this connection keeps working, this loop will go on forever. All we defined is while true. Now, if we break this program, which is what fuzzing is anticipating to do, then, okay, we're going to say, hey, we crashed it. We'll print out where we crashed it, where buffer was sitting in terms of bytes, and then we'll say, okay, sys.exit, close out, and then we'll be done with this loop. I did miss the colon. Good job. I typed that up today, so thank you. We're not running it, so. But hopefully this makes sense. This is just like a base example. I'm going to show you another example here in a second of a more detailed script. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a ping sweeper or a sweeping script. Okay, this one's a little longer, and I wanted this one to be more intimidating, just a little bit more intimidating. But you'll see that even though we don't know what's going on, we have a good idea. What are we confused about? I don't want to go ahead without us being clear. Oh, okay. Not confusion on my behalf. Got it. Okay, so again, we're importing some stuff up here. We're importing some modules. Cool. Now, we have some functions, right? You see we're defining a function here called write result, defining a function called ping subnet, a function called main, which is common, parse argument, and then you have this if name equals main here. This is very, very common as well. So what we're looking at, we see that some things have been imported. You don't have to know what these are. Date time is kind of obvious. Subprocess, I believe, is for files. Argparse, that's for arguments. So like if you have a switch, like when you type in -- help, that's for arguments. And you'll kind of figure that out here in a second. So let's look at the first function and just see what it's doing. So you see it's defining write result with file name and ping. So it looks to me as if this is writing out a file. So it's declaring as f.write, okay, start time, it's giving a date time now. For result in ping, it's going to write to this file the result. And then it's going to write the end time. So you don't have to know how to code this, you just have to be able to know how to read this. Okay, let's look at ping subnet. For address in range 1 through 255, that looks familiar, right? We're going to yield the subprocess with poppin. All poppin does is start a process. This is going to ping the subnet, the address that we defined here, right? 1 through 255. And it's going to give it a number of 1. So we're pinging one time. And then it's got some information here. Don't really need to know what that's doing either. Okay, we're defining our main function. And down here, we have parse arguments. So this is where this argparse comes into play. If you look through here, you can kind of make out what it's saying. Okay, so it's giving you a description. It's an IP checker. It gives you the usage. The epilogue's at the end, just giving you the how to run the syntax. So it says Python ipscanner.py 192.168.1 and then a -f to save to a file. What if the subnet's not /24? Then this script won't work for you. This is a very basic script. You're probably not writing your own ping sweeper anyway. You could write it a lot faster in Bash. This is just a good practice one. Okay, and then, so you've got your parser add argument. So it's got a subnet argument. It's got this -f or -- file name argument for the file name. And then you've got these statements in here where if you don't have your subnet, is what it looks like, or it's not in the range of 1 through 255, then it's going to say you're not in a valid subnet. So it's looking that these have 3 numbers, right? Or 1 to 3 numbers, I should say, and that the numbers are between 1 and 255. It'll say, okay, this is not a valid subnet if you don't have it correct. And then there are no white spaces that could be in the file name. Other than that, it's going to return the argument subnet, argument file name. And then this is just a safety measure here. So that's really it. You don't need to know exactly as a junior level pen tester how to write this. You need to be able to look at code like this and say, okay, I can kind of read it and understand what's going on. I might not know everything that's inside of there. There might be some things that I need to Google or look up, but for the most part, the concepts are there. The concepts that we talked about. You see a function. The other one, you saw a loop. You see a for loop right here. You see a for loop right here. You're understanding what these things are. You see a conditional statement here with the if, right? You see or, you see not. So these things are commonplace. And my goal tonight was to teach you the commonplace. My goal wasn't to make you some super coder or make you, you know, I don't know, well-versed, but just enough to be able to get by. If you put in the time over the week, or if you want to put in time later, with the course I sent out on Codecademy and the one from Cybrary, those are fantastic. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, if you weren't here, I only used the Cybrary course prep for my OSCP. I didn't use anything else. That was all I needed. Got through my OSCP, no problem. A lot of the OSCP is just finding code like this and swapping out what you need and being able to read and understand what you're doing. Sometimes you'll run into code on ExploitDB that is broken. You'll have to put that through an IDE or understand where sometimes I've seen spaces wrong for Python code, and I've just had issues with code before off of ExploitDB. So you just have to kind of understand what you're looking at, that spacing is important, what some of these functions are and these tools are. So that's really it. I actually finished a little bit earlier. I'll put up my poll. If you guys want to do another round of Python next week, we absolutely can do Python again next week. If not, we're going to dive right into pen testing. We're going to start with the procedure, the methodology. All right, so we got a pretty chill night tonight. I don't think we're going to be working too hard. I'm going to go ahead and get our screen share here. So we're going to be doing housekeeping, 5 minutes or so. Python 102, since you guys asked for another Python lesson. And then we'll do Q&A, AMA as always. In terms of the housekeeping, so we are doing Python 102. As I said, we're going to be covering importing, some advanced strings, and dictionaries. Then we're going to build a shitty port scanner. After that, we'll talk a little bit about modules. We're going to work on HTTP server and FTP server. We've got a hard stop tonight at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, so about 2.5 hours into the stream. I have had 2 hours of sleep today, and I am going on a plane tomorrow morning, so I need some sleep before I take a little mini vacation here for the next few days. So hard stop at 10:30. We are also going to be doing a giveaway tonight. So I have next to me a Packet Squirrel book and a Packet Squirrel. So I will come back on screen for a second. Got the book, got the Packet Squirrel. It is yours if you win it in the raffle. This is what we have been waiting for all this time. Let me show you on the screen just so everybody is clear on how the raffle is going to work. So what we're going to do is, let me pull this up. Okay, we're going to do exclamation raffle, and then you enter the number of tickets you want. So if you want 5 tickets, you say space 5. I can't enter that, but it'll be a space. And the tickets are going to cost 250 points a piece. So if you want to purchase multiple tickets, just know how much currency you have and what you can purchase. I'll run a timer probably for, we'll say 3 minutes, let everybody get into it, and then I'll open it up and it'll pick a winner at random. So pretty straightforward. If you want the Packet Squirrel, do know that you have to send me an address that I can ship it to. So please keep that in mind. I will be hitting you up